What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 6. And it's called The Iron Throne.
Yeah, this is it, guys.
Series
Last
finale, guys.
episode ever. Don't forget to stick around for our recap roundups, our final ever Game of Thrones recap roundups. It's going to take place at the end of the episode. We'll do our best moments, our best lines, our MVPs, LVPs. So be sure to stick around for that.
And as always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the episode, guys.
Let's get into it. But right before we jump into the first part, I really just want to ask you, did you like it? Did you hate it?
You know what? I'm so caught in the middle of everything right now. I can't say that I loved it by any means.
Yeah.
I really think that there were a lot of misses in this finale, but it wasn't even just the finale. It was everything leading up to the finale was a miss for me. This whole season, I would say, outside of maybe one episode, was really poorly managed, and I wish that they did it a little bit differently. But outside of that, there were some happy endings that I was okay with, and mostly Arya Stark's. So
yeah, for sure.
I think that outside of her storyline, everybody else's was a little meh. I was really upset about Dany's death, obviously, even though I knew it was coming. Anyway, we'll talk about all of that, but what did you think?
I think I just watched it the second time around too, and I have to say it made me like it a little bit more. But look, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I think the message that I got leaving off was a really beautiful message of this democracy, this open kind of new regime, new council, the old is done, and I love that message. I just didn't understand in the context of the show how these things happened.
Right.
And that's where I'm left off. But you're right. There was some really good endings with our favorite characters that I'm glad they never died. I'm glad they're living their best lives. So I'm happy about that. Right. It was just some things I just didn't understand. And I think, to your point, I think those things also lead into the whole journey from starting season 8. I think they just missed a lot, or they rushed through a lot. And just
for sure along
the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. They could have done another season of this, and
or just maybe even done 2 more episodes or 4 more, because there's 6 episodes, usually they're 10. And I think so whatever.
Anyway, we got what we got. The show is over. Finally, this is it, guys. We got to be okay with it either way. Yeah. So let's try to get through it.
Yeah, no petitions here. I think I'm good with whatever I got. I'm ready for this chapter of my life to be over with. It's been 10 years of our lives together. So I'm done.
Exactly. Okay. I think that's that. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So let's start off. Let's start off with Tyrion, because we do start off sort of with his perspective of the episode and analyzing all the destruction that Dany has caused. And he's walking through the basically King's Landing, but it's basically blown up and whatever. There's flames everywhere.
There's nothing there. Yeah.
Yeah. And at some point, I think Tyrion and Jon meet up, and Tyrion's I gotta talk to this bee real quick because she done fucked up. And at this point, I'm what is he even gonna tell her? What's he gonna do? She's gonna kill him right away because he's freaking he let Jaime go. He's obviously gonna die.
Yeah, he betrayed her. Yeah,
he betrayed her. I think one of the most powerful moments I think of the episode is when he walks through the underground caves, and he basically I guess looks for Jaime or Cersei. And it was really funny because he gets to the part where there's all these bricks on the ground, and he sees Jaime's gold hand sticking out. Right. And then he lifts 2 bricks, and then somehow he sees the whole body. I was like, what?
Here's as much as it was artistic, and as much as I didn't want him to excavate the entire dungeon area, I was very much why did they die via a thin layer of bricks?
Yeah, I know, and it's so bad to say that. It's so bad. And there was a meme, and I died. It was a meme on Twitter. It was it showed the frame of where he found their bodies. And in the background, behind Tyrion, there was no bricks. So the guy was so if Jaime and Cersei had just held hands there in the corner, they would have been okay. Because there was no bricks. It was fine.
Oh my God.
And I fucking died because it's so true. all those, like, it wasn't even like full up until the ceiling. Like, it was just like halfway.
Yeah.
Like a little mountain of bricks. I'm like, but how did they die?
Like you wouldn't have been able to see, like, they obviously did that for the reason that we saw that artistic scene with, like, you know, that frame with it's just their heads and the bricks everywhere and the destruction. I get it, guys. Like, but I don't like when they sacrifice artistic vision for understanding of the story,
like logic,
and like it just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
And like even
anyway,
Tyrion,
whatever,
like,
we saw it.
Yeah, whatever. He lifts up 2 bricks. He sees like Jaime and Cersei like holding each other and they're dead. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's beautiful. And also to all the theories out there that thought that they were still alive, I was like, why would they still be alive?
Well, that's the thing. Under those thin layers of bricks, I definitely assumed that Jaime was going to be like, help me.
Yeah.
But it totally would have been.
But like, leaving off from last week, it didn't look like that at all. It looked like an avalanche of bricks.
Like, of course. Yeah, that's what I mean. You know? It just didn't make sense on either side. I was like really assuming that maybe he was going to stay alive. Like, he was going to gasp for air as soon as he got there.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
Because it was, I'm not even joking, guys. It's like, I can sleep under those bricks and be totally fine. Like, it's just like nothing. Anyway, whatever.
So then like whatever, he starts losing it. He starts crying and like whatever, like they're dead. And then he goes up to, we'll get to the main Dany like part later, but he basically goes up to Dany while she's kind of talking to her whole army.
Right.
And she's like, bitch, what are you doing here? She's like, you betrayed me.
He's like,
she's like looking down on him too. She's like, you let your brother go. And he was like, I would have like done it again. Like, that's my brother, whatever. And then
he grabs his hand of the king, like, or hand of the queen, like pin, and he
throws it. And at that point, I'm like, she doesn't even care. Like, you've been the worst hand to her, like ever. So why the hell would she want you to be her hand anyways? Like, it's done.
She was gonna get rid of you anyways.
Exactly. And then she looks up at like Grey Worm. She's like, take this like bitch ass like away from me. And then they lock him up, whatever. And then we have a scene with Jon and Tyrion. And I really appreciated Jon in this moment because the rest of it I hated him.
Okay.
And he does approach Tyrion and he's like, what are you doing? Like, and Tyrion's like, how are you like standing up for her? Like, she's fucking crazy. Like, you know, we did believe in her, but like she's lost it. And Jon does stick up for her, right? Like, he does say like she was doing everything right, or like we were loyal to her. Like, you were the hand. So like, what did you counsel her through? Like, if this is her fault, it's just your fault as well. Like, you've been counseling her, like, you know, and like now you're turning your back on her and whatever. What did you think of Jon kind of sticking up for Dany in that moment?
You know, I think that he was all of us in that moment. I think that he was just trying to defend the fact that, you know, you brought her all this way, and it's almost like talking to the writers too. It's like, you guys brought her all this way and you saw her as this good leader and you thought that she was good, and Tyrion even says, he's like, yeah, when she broke the chains in Marine and did all these things, but then she slaughtered all these thousands of people in King's Landing and undoes everything. And I'm like, but does it? Like,
and that's
really?
The thing.
Like,
it's like showing the writing too. It's like, how did this girl go from that to this?
Yeah. And even her conversation later with Jon and how she tries to break it down, it's just not what I assumed she would have been after all this time. But I guess that's who she was. Like, it's one of those disappointing character flaws that get realized or get noticed only toward the end of a story, because we don't see those things. We see, and that's the thing. This has been such a contentious conversation online. People have been saying, you guys have been missing all of the little like
hints,
clues here and there. And, you know, she was always going to be this tyrant that's going to be doing this, and this, and she wants her way or no way. Like, I understand that. But she was trying to build a better world. Like, that was her purpose.
And here's where I'm coming from. I totally understand that. I totally saw the hints. If she didn't lose anyone, if she never lost a dragon, if she never lost Missandei, if she never lost Jorah, and she still acted like this, I'd be like, this bitch is fucking crazy. Like, she lost it, and she had everything, and she still lost it. But she's down and out. She lost every single person that's ever been close to her. Like, she lost her supporters. And that was she lost her loyal people. Like, where else was she supposed to go? She lost herself, of course, because she lost everyone around her.
And that was Jon's defense. Like, that's the thing. The entire episode, I was like, if Jorah was here, she would not be doing any of this.
Even if Missandei was still there, she would not have done that. Like, that's what kills me. It's like, they look at her and they're like, oh, the signs were all there. She fucking went crazy because she was always crazy. No, I think it would have made more sense if she hadn't lost anyone and she still flipped a switch. Then I'd be like, she has no remorse.
Then I would have been like, she's batshit, like she's lost her mind. Yes. 100%. 100%.
This character is broken.
But the way that they played her out, like, yeah, because like Jon defends her. He says like, yo, she lost everything. And like Tyrion's defense was, oh, but would you have done that? If you lost your sister, if you lost Sansa and Arya in that same fight because Cersei just kills them, yes, you would rage out. Jon has done so many things out of emotion.
Yeah.
Like, how many times has he done things emotionally? And she even says it at the throne. She's like, you would have done the same thing. And he like thinks about it, but like, dude, you probably would have. Maybe you wouldn't have gone like insane and like
I just
think
down. Tyrion bringing that up in that moment was so stupid because he basically says, he's like, what would you do with that power if you had a dragon under you? What would you do? Would you have burned the city? Yeah. Would you have done this? It's not a would you game though. Like, why are we talking like that? Like, let's just talk in terms of what's actually happened. But no, I did respect Jon for like standing up for her. And in that moment, it did seem like Jon was Team Dany.
Yeah. And then he like finishes that last thing where he's like, where Tyrion says, you know, what if it was your sisters and they wouldn't bow down? What would you do if they were in danger? And then that's when he kind of makes his decision. I think he has like 3 minutes to get to the throne.
Yeah.
But that's my problem with this whole story is, why couldn't he just like go on a vacay with his girl, like take a week off, go on like a little honeymoon and like chill out with her and be like, we won the 7 kingdoms. Let's get you into like a relaxed mode and like be like super happy about everything. And then we can like talk it through. Like, he made such a rash decision killing her off. Like, it wasn't his choice to make almost. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I just felt like he didn't sit with it long enough. Like, he went from like defending her and then like literally 60 seconds later, he's like, I'm gonna kill this bitch. Like, I was like, oh, exactly. Okay, so you were
She makes 2 conversation points that were obviously like things that I didn't like her saying. Like when she was like, if everybody else thinks that they're right, then like we'll destroy them.
Let's get to that after. Let's
sorry.
Before that scene with Jon and Tyrion ends too, I did love Tyrion says love is more powerful than reason. Mm-hmm. And Jon says love is the death of duty. And when he said that, I was like, okay, so he's in love with her, he's gonna like protect her and like fuck everyone else. And then Tyrion's like, sometimes duty is the death of love. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where this is going. So when we cut to Dany, one of the biggest scenes I think too is that we see her talking to like the Unsullied and the Dothraki, and they're all kind of like lined up. And this is a shot that we see in the promo with Arya sort of like seeing everything from the back end. And we do see Jon walking like up the huge stairs. And it's cool because like the shot of him walking up the stairs as he's about to like, get to the top, he sees Dany walk right towards him, and she's about to like make her big speech and whatever. And then obviously like Tyrion's there at that point, and Jon's like,
and she doesn't even like acknowledge him. She's just like, bye.
Yeah, she's like useless. And she has a really powerful speech, and I think in the speech as well, like Jon and Tyrion get scared even more because she's like, we're gonna fuck up the whole world basically. And she, you know, she thanks him for being loyal, and like it was basically a mini party, which I was so down for because at the end of the day, like,
let's get lit.
Like, she made it to the Iron Throne. I get it, everyone died, innocent people died, but like everyone else was lit. Like the Dothraki were like like screaming their like heads off. And Drogon was like, yes.
The one thing that I want to ask you though is, how did she replenish her army so fast?
That's what I was wondering too.
How? Please explain to me. Like, okay, because the scale was insane. But anyway, whatever. Let's just move on.
You're right, because I questioned the same thing because I thought half of the Dothraki died in the Battle of Winterfell, if not all of them. So I was so confused at that. Yeah.
So confusing. She had so many Dothraki.
Where did they come from?
She had so many Unsullied. I'm like, where were these guys? Anyway.
Yeah, and Drogon's obviously like flying over them and whatever, and he's happy. Yeah. I do have to say that one shot of like when Dany's walking up and Drogon's wings are like behind her.
Oh yeah, and her wings are out.
My
oh
God,
my God,
that was
fucking
such
sick.
a good shot. Like that was it. I was like, I'm done. I'm good. This is it for me. I'm good with that.
Yeah, this is it. It was so good. It was so cool to watch.
Yeah. So let's cut to now. You know, the biggest part of the episode, I would say, is Jon heading into like, I guess, the Iron Throne room.
Right.
Which is now kind of like demolished, and like the walls are missing, and it looked really cool.
It was really cool, but it was very like, I was waiting for kind of like what it looked like in the prophecy, the original prophecy, but it was even more destroyed. Like there's like no walls except for the Iron Throne.
And we do see Dany walking up to the throne finally. And she kind of has a smile on her face, and she's alone. There's no one around her. And she doesn't sit. She never sits in the Iron Throne, but she puts her hand on one of the, I think, the swords. And at that point, you see in the frame, like behind her, that Jon's like entering the room,
walking in.
And she smiles. She definitely smiles. Like she's like, got this. What did you think? Like, did you want her to sit on it?
I mean, here's the thing. When she turns around and she tells the story to Jon, I wanted to cry because you can see what this meant to her, and where she's coming from in that moment. Like she really is talking about something that she never saw. Like she's been told these stories. Her family was the lineage of all of this, and suddenly, you know, her mind goes back to what she was like when she was a kid, and she's looking optimistic again, and she's like, all of this was worth it. I lost 2 dragons for this. Like I lost, like, you know, my best friend for this. I had a huge fight in a war because of this throne. And I want her to sit on it? I thought it would have been a little cheesy. I thought it would have been funny if she like sits on it and she like kind of feels uncomfortable, you know? They could have made it a little bit more funny.
I think I would have liked to see that reaction. That would have been a sick reaction, because then it's like she questions whether or not this was meant for her destiny. Like, you know what I mean?
But I think we do see that. I think she does, like the way she's so overjoyed by that experience does show that she wanted this. Like she really wanted to conquer this. This is all she's ever wanted, and it's all realized. And I think that's one of the things that we have to be indicative of when we think of the fact that she dies at the end of it all, is because, you know, she is happy about the destruction that she's just like laid on this fucking town, and, you know, she's like, it is worth it for her, you know? So Jon comes in and he sees how happy she is. She's like lit. She's like, look what I done did. It's mine now. And she's so excited to like share this experience with him. And she talks about the fact that when she was younger, you know, she imagined like the throne being so much bigger because it was like 1,000 swords and all this other stuff. And she's like, I couldn't even count to 20 back then. So like for me, 1,000 swords is so much.
Yeah.
And then now she sees it and she's like, it's so tiny. Like it's just like this little thing. And it's almost like you mirror her experience to what the throne is, right? Like no one ever expected this little young girl who, like, you know, from across the sea to become what she is and have this much power. And the throne really mirrored that for me. And I really wish that they went in that direction. But I mean, I guess they did, right? Like if you want to look at them as parallels, the Iron Throne had to be destroyed for sure. So many reasons. Yeah. And she represented that kind of tyranny. So it makes sense, but at the same time, it's very. And anyway, I'm kind of glad. About fucking democracy storyline later. But
now that you're saying that, like, I'm kind of glad that like she never sat on it, because that makes me feel like she was never part. Like as much as she was part of the old sort of world, she still didn't technically sit on it. So like, she's still good in my books.
You're just like anything.
You know what I mean? Like she didn't sit on it, and I feel like that speaks a lot too, because I feel like if we had seen that shot, it would have maybe changed a lot of things too.
Absolutely.
Anyways, but yeah, so he yells at her, like Jon straight up's like, are you fucking crazy? He's like, have you been out there? Have you seen what you just did? Like, who does that? Like, that's insane. And she's like, Cersei made me do it. Like, Cersei used, you know, their innocence and, you know, tested whatever, and I had to do it.
Right.
And in that moment again, like, I'm still siding with her. Like, I freaking love her. And I'm like, she did have to do that. Like, Cersei legit played her.
Yeah.
And no one's talking about Cersei. And that's the thing that pisses me off. It's like Cersei used innocent people in King's Landing because she knew that either Dany's going to burn them all and we're going to hate Dany for it, or Dany's not going to burn them all and Cersei's still going to sit on the Iron Throne. So it's like...
Exactly.
What was the plan, guys? What was the plan?
She had to make a rough decision. She felt alone because no one wanted to fuck her and no one wanted to give her good advice.
Yeah.
So... like, what do you expect from this one girl who's literally spent her entire life trying to figure her life out? Like, I think they honestly, let's just say it right here, they did Dany wrong.
They did Dany dirty. No, they did Dany dirty.
They did her so dirty. Like, her storyline made no sense. You guys, like, this whole week, people have been sharing, old clips of, season 1 to 7, and to see her growth, to see her be amazed by herself. Someone who didn't even have, like, her brother literally sold her off in the first episode. For her to have grown that confidence, to gain that confidence, it didn't just, like, she wasn't born with it. She was a woman who was sold off.
And she did she was good along the way. Like, she did so good. She
loved everyone who followed her. Like, she didn't, like, at Slaver's Bay, at Marine, like, there were these moments, these epic moments we get to see at the very end of every episode of every season. And I know that you guys can't deny it either, that you guys were so excited to see those dragons love her and the people that she freed love her, and see Dany, like, realize this in herself and feel happy about it. And suddenly we turn to this final episode and nobody's clapping for her. Nobody is, like, siding with her, and that's the thing. It's going back to the fact that she lost everybody who would really know her well, and it's not fair because it's just not fair. It's just not fair.
No, for sure. No, they did her dirty for sure. I think for me, like I said before, it all comes down to the fact that if she had not lost a single thing and still ended up like this crazy bitch, I would 100% agree with every single person and be like, she's fucking crazy. But there is a character that lost everything they've ever known. They've lost their guiding light. They've lost their supporters. They've lost their best friends, their family. Of course they're going to freak out. Like, of course they're not going to know what to do. Of course they're going to, glitch out in the worst way. Like, that's understandable. Like, she's a little girl still. Like,
the same thing happened to fucking the Stark family. They all went insane and started an entire war for their family. Like, why wouldn't you think about those things? Like, if you really want to put it into context, Robb killed so many people in his battles for his dad. You know what I mean? No one says anything about that. She's in a time of war. If she was doing this, like, on a Tuesday and she's just, like, filing her nails and being like, bring everybody in, I just want to burn them all, I don't even care, like, that'd be a different story. I understand that what we hear from her later and her mindset is very much like, I'm a war hero and I'm going to continue to fight until, like, we are at paradise. I get that, because that's never going to be it's never going to be seen. It's never going to be something that you're going to be able to accomplish. So I get that she, like, had that mindset and it had to not be around anymore.
Yeah.
But I really don't believe that Jon couldn't have done literally anything to help her through that.
So let's talk about that now. So
Sure.
She basically pops off and she's like, this is our mission, like, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna go around the world and we're gonna convince otherwise, and we're gonna tell them how it's done. And Jon's like, but what if they don't, like, what if they have another way of doing things? And she goes, that doesn't matter. She's like, it's our way, like, that's it. And I think
our way or no way.
Yeah, and I think that's where obviously he realizes, like, okay, like, she's way far gone.
As soon as that happened, I was like, wrong answer, girl. Wrong answer.
Yeah. And obviously, like, the camera starts to pull in, and he's like, you're my queen forever, like, whatever. He starts, like, now he obviously gets fucking romantic. I'm like, really?
No.
Like, now you're gonna put the moves on her? And then he, like, kisses her and
this is the thing that really bummed me out, and you can talk me through this because I'm still really upset about it. How he betrayed her. He literally put her into
at that point. Why lie?
And that's the thing. That's the thing that frustrated me all this time. He's been this honorable person, but then at the very end, the hard decision that he had to make was to betray his own queen. He literally looks at her in the eyes and says, "You're going to be my queen forever and for always."
Yeah.
And stabs her in the chest. Like, it's so
fucked up.
you put her into a space of trust, and I don't think that's fair.
No.
Just for a romantic moment, just for a heartbreaking, heart-wrenching moment, like it just doesn't seem right to me. And it really did Dany wrong, because she had all of her guard down. She was so excited to share this with the one man that like she loved in this whole situation, and he fucked her. Like he literally fucked her. And Jon, and like we can talk about Jon's like after storyline, but like you would be literally riddled with guilt to the point where you want to like fucking kill yourself if that was what you had to do. You know what I mean? Like I wish that Jon's story did not go the way that it went, and it's so annoying that literally every character except for Dany got a relatively happy ending, including fucking Cersei goddamn Lannister.
Yeah.
Like, who died under like a pile of bricks with her lover. Like Dany got fucked so hard. Like it is the worst. Like it is really
they did her
such a
so
tragic
dirty.
and
So
such a shitty way to go. Like any other way would have been better.
I think you're right.
Like,
I think the fact that Jon, swears by this oath and like he's so honorable, he lies to her face, because I don't believe him in that moment. I know he says that he loves her, and I know he says like you're my queen, but like I don't believe you because you're gonna kill her right now. So that's a fucking lie. I think what he should have done is like say like, Dany, you've lost it. You have gone way too far. This needs to end. And then he could have killed her. Like that wouldn't have been as cinematic. I get it. But that would have just been more of Jon's character to be like, I'm going to stay honorable and I'm going to stay honest. Because I don't believe that he loved her.
Let her fight through it. Let her make the realization herself.
Exactly.
Like the realization that we get from her is as she's dying. And then, I was talking to my boyfriend about it yesterday, because he's like trying to talk me through it because I was so upset. And he said, like in that moment, like she's realizing that she's the villain, like as she's dying.
You think so?
But I'm like, but you don't give her, like an opportunity to defend herself.
She doesn't even say anything, homie. She doesn't even get to say a single word.
Also, and somebody mentioned this on our Twitter, like that is the weakest Game of Thrones death I've ever seen in my life. One stab to the chest, and she like slowly bleeds through the nose and mouth.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jamie over here, fucking 8 stabs in the ribs, and he's like still moving around.
He's totally fine. And like, honestly, the Red Wedding was like fucking brutal in comparison. That was like the tiniest like little whisper.
But that's
of death.
why they didn't want to do it where it's like he slashes her neck. I get that. Like I appreciated that. It was a very silent and very like, almost
quick
like a
death,
sympathetic quick death. But
that's the thing. My girl did not need some sympathy. She needed to go out guns a-blazing, and she didn't. She lost. She lost in the arms of a man who betrayed her. Like, what the hell?
I wanted so bad in that moment when she, and this is like my best line, when she says, "Be with me, build a new world with me. This is our reason. It has been from the beginning, since you were a little boy with a bastard's name and I was a little girl who couldn't count to 20. We do it together. We break the wheel together." And I was like, oh my God. Like, I wanted that so fucking much. Like, I want him to just be like, fuck that shit. I'm a Targaryen too. Let's fuck it out and have babies and like rule the world. I wanted it. I don't care how selfish that sounds. Like, I wanted it to happen.
And I don't think that's a selfish ask. I think that could have still been a really tragic story for Game of Thrones, like, that the wheel never ends and the wheel like continues on. We didn't really need like this whole, let's break the wheel through democracy. Like, I did not care for that storyline at all. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, we know that Game of Thrones isn't always about happy endings. That would have been a bittersweet happy ending.
It's who deserves the motherfucking throne. This bitch has been working for 8 years to get to this place.
100.
And y'all just gonna make a fucking democracy now and give it to Brandon Stark? Like,
Preach.
It doesn't make sense. Like, it's like he cheated. It's like she's worked hard. I get it. She's fucked up along the way, of course. But like,
she worked.
Did her so
she did stuff.
Dirty. Forever in my mind, she will remain like the queen that I know. Because this is fucked up.
100%.
She's dead. She falls onto the ground. He like starts crying. And I have to say the acting from both of them, amazing jobs. Like Kit Harington like really did a good job in this scene. He like puts her on the ground, and then Drogon, I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna freak.
Oh, he got pissed.
He fucking
because all you hear like,
in.
and when she. Yeah, like when he's holding her, all you hear is like, "What's going on with my mama?"
Yeah, he starts like yelling, and then he like swoops into like the room. He like looks at Jon like he's gonna kill him, and then he like nudges her body. Oh my God, I lost it. Like, I was like, these dragons have like made me feel so many types of ways, more than any character has ever done for me in this show. He like nudges her dead body like to like wake her up, you know, like to see if she's like sleeping.
Yeah.
And she doesn't wake up, and then he like nudges her again, and like she doesn't wake up, and then he looks at Jon. He's like, "What the fuck did you do to my mom?"
He's like, "You fucking bitch."
Yeah. And then he starts like basically crying, and like he freaks out. He gets so pissed. He burns the Iron Throne down, which was amazing to see. I love that shot.
Yeah.
And it melts away and it's gone, and Jon's like, "Oh my god."
So what did you think? What did you think of that?
No, I loved it. I loved it. I think it was necessary. I love the fact that he burned it. Someone was saying that how would the dragon know to burn the Iron Throne? But I think in some spiritual way she's always been connected to these animals. So I think they felt what she's felt. I think they understand her journey. They understand this whole mission and this world, and like they know things. They realize things. So like.
And they understand that like this was her mission.
That was what she was fighting for. Yeah.
This is all my mom wanted, and now she can't even sit on it. If my mom can't sit on it, then nobody can sit on it.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved it.
It was very like emotional to watch him have this final sequence where he's able to have like a bit of a higher consciousness and make the choice not to kill Jon in that particular moment.
I loved it. Yeah. And
but
then it was
what did you think of the fact that he didn't kill Jon?
I was pissed. I was like, just burn that motherfucker. Like, who cares about him?
Just burn him down.
I know he couldn't kill him because he's a Targaryen, and I think that's why he didn't, obviously. But again, that felt so lame to me because you never even identified as a fucking Targaryen. Like, you didn't even want to be Targaryen. So why should this dragon not kill you right now?
And that's the thing that frustrated me too, is like, you still betray the queen. It doesn't matter. Like, you still killed her. Like, you think that Drogon, who he's never even sat on Drogon to begin with, like he's maybe like petted him one fucking time, and suddenly he's like, "Oh, it's okay. Like, I know that it's not your fault. Like, it's cool. It's a dragon." You're literally talking about a dragon over here. Like, you're talking about Dany, who embodies a dragon in human form, and she literally raged out and killed an entire city of thousands of innocent people. And he's a guilty motherfucker standing in front of a dragon who barely has his own like self-awareness, and he's gonna just like decide not to kill Jon in that moment because he's half Targaryen. Fuck that. Yeah. Just fucking kill him in that moment and be done with his goddamn story.
Yeah.
Like, if he died holding Dany in his arms, I would have been like, cool. They're both burnt together. That's how their story ended. The Targaryen line is now gone forever.
But maybe they can't be
burnt, I would have been
right?
totally fine with
because he's a Targaryen, like maybe he can't be burned by flames.
That he could have chomped that motherfucker up. Like, I do not care. Like, he could have mashed him with his tail. Like, I don't even, doesn't even matter.
Let's really talk about Dany's exit, because my girl got carried away on a motherfucking toenail. How do you feel about that? I don't know. He fucking look, it was so cute that like he picked up his mom and like lifted her off, and like they her story ends with her in the sky, but like she fucking got carried off in a fucking toenail.
Here's the tea. I really do think she literally does get carried away in a toenail, which kind of sucked, but at the same time I get it. The big one question that I have is, where did Drogon go with her? I was holding out, guys, for the longest time, and I know this sounds kind of crazy, but it really isn't, because it's fucking Game of Thrones and there's dragons in it. But I was really hoping that there was some magic still left in this moment that she would have been able to be resurrected.
Yeah, me too.
To be honest.
Yeah.
And for all we know, I know this story is done, but we know that there are spin-offs, and for all we know, these are all things that are going to be answered in the spin-off.
I don't know. I'm over it.
Like, I'm over it personally. I don't want to hear the story anymore. But that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are talking about the fact that they left a lot of open-ended situations for the spin-off story. And I'm just like, I don't care. You killed my character off and you finished the series.
No, there's no excuse.
She's gone.
She's
you know
gone.
What I mean?
She's never going to come back. Like, Emilia Clarke is never going to come back as Daenerys Targaryen. Yeah, so, like, we're never going to see that ever again. So this story is finished. You know what I mean? And that's the final end of that sequence. The Drogon's basically, like, he disappears with her into the sky, the clouds, and it cuts to black. And, like, that's the end. That's the end of Dany Targaryen.
What did you think of that?
It was pathetic. What did you think of that? It was actually pretty pathetic. I think it was way too fast. My cousin made a good point. She was like, I wish they had spent more time on that whole part. And like the ending was like 10 minutes long, but she's like, Dany died in like the first 20 minutes. Like, it felt so fast.
For sure. And like that's the thing, and we don't see anything going. Like we're about to go back into like the flash forward kind of, but they don't spend enough time after in the aftermath. Like
they don't even mention her. They barely talk about her.
Like they barely talk about Jon. Literally, like what? He's sitting there in the Iron Throne with like Dany's blood all over his hands. He just taps Grey Worm on the shoulder and is like, "By the way, I killed your queen.
Yes.
Can you like arrest me now, please?"
Yeah.
Like you're telling me that's what went down? Like Grey Worm's gonna be like, "Oh, because we know you and we fought for you, we are going to imprison you instead."
No, he would have killed him instantly.
He would have killed him instantly. He would have said like, "You betrayed my queen," which is exactly what like she's been going through.
It would have been cool if like, because she did disappear, like her body was never there. It would have been cool if he said like she flew away for a little bit, like she'll be back in a week or something, and then like they just like prison him. But you're right, like that doesn't really make sense. Like that
doesn't make sense.
Would keep him alive.
And that's the thing. They didn't show it because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, yeah.
This show, I like the things that it decides to show and it doesn't decide to show. Sometimes when you take a question and be like, why didn't they show that? It's because it wouldn't have made sense if they showed it.
It's true.
It really wouldn't have.
It's true.
Like that's the
tea.
And
so yeah, we do fade to black, and the next thing that we open up with is Tyrion, and we're assuming that it's been now like some time has passed since you know Dany died. And Tyrion's still like in prison basically. He has like this huge beard and he looks like so dirty and smelly. And then Grey Worm comes to get him. They take him out to like the dragon boat, like the court, whatever, like the sand pit, whatever it was.
The dragon pit.
The dragon pit. And there's like a whole council now.
Yeah.
Of all our favorite characters are back in King's Landing.
I mean, favorite is questionable, but yeah.
We see Sansa, we see Bran, we see Arya, Gendry's even there, Davos is there, Brienne is there, Theon's sister, I forgot her freaking name.
Yara,
Samwell's there, Edmund Tully's like back. I'm like
randomly there too.
And like a couple of more people. And I was like, okay.
Like the guy from the Aaron, what's it called? Like the nephew or whatever was there.
Yeah, the Veil. Yeah, I forgot his name. Yeah. And so they're all kind of standing there, whatever. And Grey Worm, he brings Tyrion out. And I don't know how the conversation starts. Like, who brings up the fact that they have to find a king now? Is that how it starts, the conversation? And like, why was Tyrion there?
Well, so what I'm assuming what that was is it was almost like a parlay, like they did for the end of season 7 with Cersei, where they all kind of sat in the dragon pits and were like, okay, what are we doing about this particular situation? So they all come together to figure out what to do with Tyrion and Jon, and that's why they're all kind of sitting there. I don't think it was necessarily about choosing a king.
Okay.
But then they're like, okay, well, we need to get like Tyrion released. Like, what's going to happen with this whole situation? There's an army waiting at the gates of King's Landing, which is what Sansa says, who want Jon freed. So we know that there is some level of kind of like unification from the north to bring Jon back home, and they're willing to fight the Unsullied for him. So they all went to war for him, which is like cool, fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a lot easier than fucking Rob trying to get down to King's Landing because everybody's on the same side now, which is like, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, they didn't spend a lot of time, and these are the moments where I'm like, they could have done one more season for sure, you know, like if they really wanted to carry this through. But instead we have to assume that she safely gets down to King's Landing in like a fortnight with her gigantic army, and everybody gets to like just have this council conversation. So essentially they wanted to make a decision on this, and Grey Worm is like not budging. He's like so fucking pissed. He's like, your brother killed my queen and we own this town now, and you know, like it's our rules and we want justice, and he's pissed off basically. And they just say, you know, we need to find a way to break the wheel or something, and Tyrion uses his words to kind of get himself out of the situation, but also try to find a resolution, because I think at one point even Samwell says something along the lines of like, maybe we should decide as like a whole group of people.
Yeah, like everyone deserves a vote to like vote for their king or vote for whatever it's supposed to be. And then
he proposes a democracy.
Yeah, everyone's like, haha, no.
They're like, shut up, stupid.
Yeah. And then even like Edmund Tully stands up, which was such a random moment for me, because I was like, we don't even give a shit about this guy. Like, who cares what this guy has to say?
they wanted us to laugh in that moment, but bro, I was still reeling from the fact that you killed off one of my favorite characters. So I don't give a shit about your Game of Thrones comedy right now. Like, I get it, but I ain't about that right now. Like, I'm still pissed that Dany's not sitting there with everybody else. It's so unfair.
For sure. And then they're like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're not, like, definitely not gonna be king. Like, you're a loser. So then like he sits down, and then I think someone makes a comment to Tyrion and is like, oh, like, you want to be king, like, now you want to sit on the throne. And he's like, no, I definitely don't want to do that either. Yeah. And he was like, but I've had a lot of time to think about this. And he's like, you know, like, all the great kings or like whatever, you know, they have the best stories, and like, who has a better story than Bran the Broken? And everyone's like, like everyone's like, wait, what?
Question mark?
And even Bran's like, me? He's like, really, me? Like, and I'm like, he had a pretty cool story, but I'm like, so did Arya Stark, so did Sansa Stark, so did Brienne, so did Gendry. Like, everyone sitting on the motherfucking council had a good story because we watched it all happen over 8 years. Yeah. So like, they all had a good story. Like, for sure,
except for Edmure.
Except for him. So he basically tries to sell them on this story of like the boy who fell from the tower, and like he lived, and then he like, you know, learned how to fly and like all this shit. What do you think?
I think that I understand why remember in the beginning of the season, I was like, why does he keep talking to Bran randomly by the fire? This is exactly the reason why. We should have known since then that he was going to try to counsel him to become king. But I just didn't expect it. And that's the thing that frustrates me too, is while Jon did kill Daenerys, why couldn't he sit on the throne and be like, yeah, I fucking killed your queen. Now I'm king,
I would have hated that. I would have hated that even more.
Why?
Because he's part of the old world. So like, I do understand that they needed like fresh blood, and like Jon's just like done. Like he doesn't even want to be king. Like, but whatever.
Done in what regard? He was half Targaryen, half Stark. What was the whole point of that whole fucking storyline?
I feel like he's so fucked. He's fucked up too many times, in my opinion, for me to want him to be king of the entire world.
I'm not saying that I wanted him to be king, but did I want him to be? Did it make more sense for him to be king over Bran to me? Yeah, maybe it kind of does. It kind of does. It's not like it. I know that he kept saying the entire time, I don't want the throne. I don't want the throne. I don't want the throne. But the fact of the matter is you have the rightful, like, you know, decision to be a part of that. But to your point, he is a part of the old world in the way that they decide. Like, Bran is technically the first elected king, but why didn't they elect Jon? Why couldn't they say Jon should go free and he should be the king because he loved like Daenerys, and he can find a way to make her better world, you know? Like, I don't know.
So watching this the second time, they could have written
that in. I don't know.
Watching this a second time, I definitely liked it a little bit more, and I did appreciate what Tyrion had to say, because he does talk about Bran, and he goes, he is our memory, the keeper of all our stories, the wars, the weddings, the births, the triumphs, our defeats, our past. Who better to lead us into the future? I did love that. I did love it. Fair. I just wish that they connected Bran to the throne more throughout the series, because, you know, this kid was literally missing for like, I think like a full season. Like, he didn't even like act in it. And I just think his story was so far from the throne. Like, it was like him being a tree, him being the three-eyed raven, him having these like powers, and like, I just never thought that it would connect to this position. So,
but and that's the thing. That being said, maybe that's why they did it, right? So it's so unexpected, but also like if you look back now, you're like, oh, okay, I guess.
Like, has he earned it? He's earned it in the sense of like, he's had his own journey, yes, his own personal journey, but so has Arya. I could say the same thing for her. I could be like, this girl fucking like killed everyone and like, you know, sailed across the seas like 2 times over, and like now she's here, like she deserves to be queen. Okay.
Same with Sansa. I could say the same thing with Sansa.
It's not even more Sansa, because like she stayed within the realm. So like, maybe even more so Sansa. So I just didn't understand like the connection. I wish I understood it more, and I'm sure people do get it. I don't know. Can we talk about Sansa for a quick second? Because, okay, so let's move a little bit forward. Everybody elects him. Like, everybody agrees that Bran should be king. They're like, I. But then when it gets to Sansa, she's like,
bro, I love you and everything, but like the North is going to be an independent state. She's like, we're going to be Quebec. We're like, not going to be a part of this.
First, she's like, my brother doesn't even want to be king. And she's like, he can't even have kids. I'm like, so
she
mean.
fully like shades him hard.
Yeah.
She's like, he's not even useful.
And Tyrion's clapback to that is like, he's like, when did we ever have like good like sons of kings? Like, AKA like Joffrey and shit. So that was kind of cute. Like that kind of came back full circle. But yeah.
So, but the one question that I had was, at the end of the day, Sansa still got to be queen after all of this. Like, she just decides to like be an independent state, and her brother's like, cool.
No one gets to vote on that. It was just her saying it. So again, it's like, is this a democracy? Like, what's going on? She's like,
or is it like the Starks North. Basically just like ducked in and like won?
They won, and no one's questioning anything, which is cool, I guess.
Like, I'm totally fine with the Starks being on top at the end of all of this, but at the same time, it was like a little forced. Like, everyone literally wins. Like, not like every single one of their characters win. I
felt like they gave Tyrion way too much like things to say, because he just kept talking after that too. He's like, from now on, rulers will be not be born. They're going to be chosen on this spot by the lords and ladies of Westeros to serve the realm. I'm like, okay, can you stop talking? Like, you're still a prisoner right now.
Stop talking. We're done. Like, we're done here. Yeah.
No, but I think I do appreciate it all. I like how like they're moving into the forward and like changing their ways. It's just I get it. I'm not sold 100% on Brandon Stark.
I'm
like, does he even know how to rule?
That's the thing. I don't know.
He has no political experience.
He was like Lord of Winterfell for 1 minute before everybody tried to fucking kill him. So I don't know, man. And that's the thing. Yara was like, you killed my queen. Like, there's still so much anger and so much frustration from the other teams. Like, even the Prince of Dorne. Like, the Prince of Dorne didn't say shit all. You're going to tell me that once Sansa's like, I want independence, the Prince of Dorne isn't going to be like, no, fuck you then. I want independence too. Yeah. I want independence too. Like, why does Sansa just get like to be the independent queen of the North?
Yeah.
But that's bullshit.
I know.
You know what I mean? Then that is like a situation where the people are using their power to decide. To get what they want. And then what would have been the difference between Dany doing exactly what she wanted to do versus what she literally wanted to break exactly what's happens at the end of this show. Like, she's like, I want to break the wheel. Of course she wanted to be at the top of the wheel, but like the same thing happened at the end of this. I was like, it was kind of a democracy, but it's also like kind of a monarchy. So it's this like fucked up version of like what the government should be, but it doesn't make any sense because no one should be the leader, but also, I don't know. It didn't, like, if what Sam said, like, had the voting system and how everybody was like, true, that makes so much more sense, then I would have been like, okay, they totally fucking changed the political system completely. Instead, they were like, no, let's just move to like another king and we'll like elect him next time. You know what I mean? Like, elect him based on our own family's decisions. Like, there was 3 Starks against like 7 people. Like, half of the votes are already in 2 people's places. You know what I mean?
So
anyway, I'm not talking politics anymore.
Before that scene ends, Tyrion looks at Bran and he's like, I know you don't want it. I know you don't care about power, but if we choose you, will you wear the crown? Will you lead the 7 kingdoms to the best of your abilities? And Bran shocks everyone and goes, why do you think I came all this way? I'm like, bitch,
wow.
What? I'm like,
you were fully
like, since when? He
fully shook the whole world. Like, he knew the whole time.
I was like, what?
This is what he didn't want to tell anyone. He's like, I'm going to become king.
You know what would have been crazy? Westeros. And we were talking about this yesterday after the episode. It would have been crazy if, like, at the end, he, like, stood up and was like, done, bitches. Like, I tricked you guys.
Like, a usual suspects moment.
Yeah.
Just, like, he fully, like,
calmed down. He, like, tricked everyone. And, like, he's basically still tricking everyone. That would have been pretty crazy.
He's like, it's all about storytelling, right? And then he just walks away.
Yeah. That would have been sick.
That would have been so good.
Okay, so that scene ends, and then Tyrion goes to see Jon quickly to be like, like, homie, like, you're basically free now. Like, you're gonna go to the back to the Night's Watch, basically, like season 1, episode 1. And then Jon's still questioning like what he did. Jon's like, did we do the right thing? Like, did I fuck up? Like, why did I kill her? And I kind of was like, thank you for someone like talking about her still, questioning it. But I was just like, yeah, you did fuck up. You did kill her. You could have like taken your girl and like gone to your like Dragonstone and like, lived happily ever after.
100%. 100%.
Useless.
Like, you literally, like, betrayed your queen, and you have to live with that for the rest of your fucking life, so it's all your fault. Like, I blame him. I blame Jon Snow. It's all his fault. He did everything. It's his fault. He ruined my favorite storyline ever.
Yeah, honestly.
So pissed. Man.
So, yeah, so then Tyrion tells him, like, you're going to go to the Night's Watch. Like, see you, bro.
Like, what? What did you think of that part of
it? I don't know. I was just done with it. I was done with Jon. I was okay with Jon even being dead. So to me, it's just like whatever. Like go there. Like I guess you belong there. Just like leave. Whatever.
Yeah. You belong there.
Before we get to the final goodbye sequence, I quickly want to talk about the final council meeting. Okay. That they have, and Tyrion is obviously now the Hand. He gets appointed as the Hand.
Oh yeah,
because he actually does tell Bran, like, I don't want to do it. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to even be the Hand in anything. And Bran's like, no, I want you to, like, help me. And, like, I need help, whatever. Because I have no fucking political, like, background. So and Tyrion was really cute. Like, he was really nervous before his, like, first meeting. He was, like, lining up all the chairs and, like, waiting for everyone to come in. And then we see Davos come in. We see Bran come in. Brienne comes in. Right? And who else was there?
Sam,
which was like cute. But I didn't get why Bran was there, because I was like, homie, the last time we saw you, like, you were trying to kill Tyrion and Jaime.
I mean, I get why they did it. Like, at the end of the day, like, he still like, you know, he gets what he wants. He becomes like King of the Reach / Master of Coin. Fine. Like, I wasn't questioning at that point. Were you?
I didn't appreciate. Dude, Bran turned evil for the last, like, 2 fucking seasons. And now he's just going to sit on a fucking council table and, like, nothing ever happened? Like, we're not going to talk about that? We're not going to talk about how you, like, try to shoot, like, her
I feel
dragon.
Like they just wanted everybody... Because he doesn't fit anywhere else. Like, fine,
but that's what I mean. Like, I just feel like he could have been dead. Like, I wouldn't have cared for him. It just felt so weird to me that he wasn't Tyrion's friend for a good 2 seasons. He wasn't loyal to Tyrion. And then somehow, magically, Tyrion's like, okay, cool. Like, now you're, like, going to be on my, like, council.
I know.
Anyways,
I'm just trying to run with it.
Whatever. So Sam makes some cute points, and it was cute, and then, like, the camera kind of, like, pans out, and then, like, it cuts from there, whatever. But and then Bran comes in at some point. He's like, hey guys. He's like, do I need to be here for the whole fucking time? And
he was there for 5 seconds.
Yeah, and I think someone even mentions, like, where's the dragon? Like, we saw him, like, flying east, like, the last time, and Bran's like, okay, he's like, I'll go look for him, like, BRB, like, see you guys later. I was like, what is going on?
And that's the thing. I was hoping that at the very end, like, this is just fast forward to the final part of the episode. If at the very end we see a crow, like, flying over the clouds and, like, the music starts playing and we, like, get this, like, amazing, like, moment in the sky, and, like, maybe you hear a dragon scream at the very end, I would have been like,
amazing,
sick finale. Everything would have been like it would have all been washed away. I'm not even joking. Sure, if they did that season, like, as the series finale, even with Dany's death included, just recognizing the fact that this did start with dragons as a part of this story, and the fact that they ended like 20 minutes into the episode, I'm like, but dragons, guys, dragons.
Yeah, no, you're like, right.
Come on.
You're right. I know.
It would have been so much cooler if they really ended off. And, like, for him to refer to it, he's like, I'm going to go look for them, and then never show that part.
Yeah, it was
I'm
so
like,
weird.
Bro, of all these things that Bran never gives us, he always gives us these useless scenes where he's, like, flying around as Raven.
Flying, yeah. He
couldn't just show us this one moment that we were hoping for. At least I was hoping for. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so he dips from the whole council after like 5 seconds of being there to be like, I'm gonna go look for Drogon. You guys can handle this, right? Okay, bye. Yeah. So basically, you're a useless king, just as everybody else. Like, I trust my council. Bye.
So then we cut to kind of like the whole sequence of goodbyes of this whole fucking show. And the first one I want to talk about is Brienne, and she finds some time to like look through like, I guess, the Knight's like book.
Okay, this is the thing that also kills me is like, you're telling me that King's Landing was just literally destroyed. Yeah. This was the one room that was like pristine.
The books
like,
are
perfect.
all pristine. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Whatever. So she's looking through the book. She gets to Jaime's name. And like his story is obviously not done, but she like kind of fills it in. And I was like, no, don't do that. Like, he fucking did you dirty too. Like, why are we ending off with the woman having to be the fucking nice one, the emotional one, the one that's like, I'm gonna leave him with like a legacy? Fuck that shit. He left you in the fucking cold, fucking half naked after he done fucked you to go fuck his sister, and you're gonna sit here and write his ending in a motherfucking book? No.
Like,
Brienne,
turn it into a burn book and be like, by the way, he totally fucked everybody over before he fucking went all the way back to his
dick was small. Like, that should have been the final line that she put in that fucking entry. Like, it just annoyed me so much. I did find it to be a very beautiful moment. I did enjoy, like, I liked it, but I was like, he did her so dirty at the end that now she's like repaying him somehow. Like, I hated it. I don't know. I was like
he literally like fucked her over. Like, he was like, you're not enough for me. And I'm leaving. And she's gonna be like, forgiveness what? Like,
I thought she was going to write her name in the book. That's what I thought she was going to do.
That would have been badass.
Like, any independent woman would write their name because now they're a knight. God. No, instead she goes backwards into the pages and fills in Jaime's freaking entry.
This is when you know that this show was written by men.
Yes, thank you.
Like, this is when you know.
Yeah, because that shit like wouldn't fly. Anyway, so that's sort of like her ending. And that's the thing, like, how sad for a character like as powerful as Brienne is, like, her ending was tied to Jaime.
Like, please.
You know what I mean? Like, her last moments on this show ever was her writing for Jaime's like legacy. Girl, write for your legacy. Like, put your name in that book.
Write for your legacy. Exactly.
Pathetic. Anyways, then we cut to Arya. Like, it's a really cute scene on the docks. Like, Arya, Bran, and Sansa, and they're saying bye to Jon forever. And he's like, well, guys, I'm going back to the north. And I'm like, you are a loser. What did you think of the moment? Like, were you like emotional? Were you sad?
I was more like, why is everybody crying? Other than the fact that it's the series finale.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna see each other at some point. You guys will be fine.
Exactly. And he even tells Arya, he's like, you can come visit me whenever you want. It's not a big deal.
The one thing that I will say is the Arya scene got me really hard. Like, between her and Jon. But it wasn't because of the situation. It was because I love Arya Stark, and I was sad to hear her like decision to like leave and never see her family again after all this time. Like, she just decides to like up and become a fucking like ship pirate.
Dora the Explorer, basically.
Like, Dora the fucking Explorer, for real. Yeah. Like, that was probably the most emotional thing. I love how like Sansa was like, so sorry about like telling that like lie to her. Like, she's like, by the way, like, I'm really sorry that like I basically screwed over your entire relationship and fucked over like everybody, but can you ever forgive me, like, maybe later? And he's like bye. He's like, go and be in the north. Like, he's like, bitch, get out of my face. He's like, he can't even forgive her in that moment.
You'll never change. Like, you're gonna be Gossip Girl forever.
He's like, you fucking bitch, all you wanted was that fucking throne anyway. So you got what you wanted. I don't know. I'm just, because like, she like low-key's like, yeah, but like in the long run, like, they lost her King of the North, and he's like, fuck you, bitch. You wanted that from the beginning anyway. Like, Sansa won everything, man. She literally
she got what she wanted.
She got exactly what you wanted.
So then, like, it kind of cuts to like Jon like dips. It cuts like a really quick shot of like Grey Worm being like, let's go to like north and like just chill.
So random. I was like, okay, cool. Is that another spin-off? Like, come on. Like, please, I don't want to see that.
And then it cuts to like Arya, and like, best part of the episode, like, she like puts her hair into like a sick ass bun. She like puts on new clothes. She looks so happy. Her wounds are all like healed. She gets onto the ship with like the, you know, House Stark sigil, and like she's off to like do her exploring. Cool.
West of Westeros.
Live your best life, girl. I'm so down for you not being dead. And then we cut to like Winterfell, and they're crowning Sansa, which was a really sick scene too. I did love this.
It was a sick scene. I'm happy for her becoming Queen of the North, but at the same time, I'm like, I thought we were done like crowning people so many times. Like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah. But you got to get that last shot, right? And then they scream like, Queen of the North, Queen of the North. I'm like, okay.
I was like, cool. Good for her.
And then that happens. And then we see Jon finally getting to the Night's Watch. And really awkward, quick scene. He like opens the door and he sees like Tormund standing there. But like, there's no like line from Tormund. Tormund's just like, like he like nods. And then we finally get to see Jon reunite with Ghost because everyone was so freaking pissed about that.
Oh my God. I was like, finally, NB and everybody that's been complaining about this goddamn reunion and petting the dog, like it finally happened.
It was so
you guys
cute.
are happy now.
And then it was really random because then basically we see the shot from like beyond the wall where like the door opens and all the wildlings that had been staying just south of the wall, they start leaving. They walk out and then like Jon's with them. So I'm like,
right.
I don't get it. Like he's gonna be a wildling.
So
now?
he becomes. So does he become the king of the like? What's it called? The king beyond the wall, right?
Is that what
like,
it is? Why?
I feel like that's the story that they're giving him. Like,
but why did he ever want to do that?
I don't know. They always saw him as They always saw him as a leader anyway, so they're gonna follow him no matter what.
Okay, but like him, he was always the leader of like the North. Like he was the king of the North. No. Like, when did he become the king of the wildlings?
I mean, because they always loved him. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it just didn't... Like, I didn't get it. Like, I didn't understand why he was going past the wall. Like, I thought he was going to start the Night's Watch.
First of all, they either, like, all lied to Grey Worm, but, like, there is no Night's Watch. Like, what are they doing up there anymore? Like, there is no Night's Watch.
Well, I think they still have to...
For them to, like, make Grey Worm feel better, like they're like, yeah, we're gonna send him to the Night's Watch. Like he can never father any children, he can never like do any of that kind of stuff, but like he's gonna be up there like watching the wall. For what? There is no fucking Night King anymore. There's no endless war.
It would have been sick if like it would have been sick if they somehow ended off with like a hint at maybe like the Night King coming back or something.
No, I would have been down for that either. I'm like, what has this story been if like it just keeps coming
I just didn't
around?
understand why the final shot ever of this fucking show was like a wide shot of like the wildlings.
I don't understand why it was that was the final shot either, other than the fact that I don't understand either.
I don't understand it.
I don't. Like I said, you know exactly what I wanted my final shot to be. I wanted it to be like the crow and the dragon. That would have been sick too. I even thought they would like somehow like
zoom out, like almost like how you're on Google Maps and like you zoom out and like you like see like Westeros, like all of it, like from the top, like even something like that, and like kind of just like a slow zoom out, but like to fade out on the wildlings, I'm like, bro, we don't even care about these people. Like, why? I don't understand. Why is this the last shot? You're right. Like, it should have totally been the Raven, like flying in the sky or something, like, because that's Bran. Like, I don't know. And that's it. That's how the episode ends.
That's how it ends. I was like, is that it for real? I was like, wow, final shot is going into the woods. Cool. Yeah, guys.
Cool. Okay. Bye. So really quickly, I just want to talk about some honorable mentions. Arya never ended up killing anyone with green eyes. So everyone that was onto that theory was like, okay, that never ended up happening. And that's pretty much all I can think of. Yeah.
Before we get into our recap roundups, I just want to read some of the comments because we did get a lot of people saying yes to so many things. But right off the top, Faye AJ was like, this was a shit ending. Bring me back to the years I wasted. How can they kill Dany like that? Bran the king. Fuck right off. I needed Drogon to burn them all. Worst season finale. Worst episode ever. Someone else, Crafty Katie says, so bad. Main character glorified extra. Arya no finished storyline. Multiple other characters all over. Someone who we didn't see for seasons is the king.
Yeah.
What? Exactly. Like honestly, them all dying in some crazy way would have been better. And someone says, yeah, Drogon went MIA. And someone also says that Alaria's stand and that whole storyline just like finished off in last season so quickly.
Yeah.
Like they're like, did everybody forget about them? I kind of didn't forget about them, to be honest, but I'm like, they're definitely dead now. Like they've been under there for time. So anyway, it doesn't seem like everybody was super happy with the ending. But that is what we got, guys, and it's over. And we can close this chapter in our lives and we can move forward and watch more shows like Westworld. And like there's a lot of great shows coming out that I'm excited for. So Game of Thrones, as epic as and amazing as it was, yes, didn't have the best ending ever, but I need to appreciate it for what it has been in my life and what I got from it. And then forget about season 8, kind of, you know.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment is gonna go to my girl Dany touching the Iron Throne. I felt like for a second she was really happy. She was like, I got here, I made it. I felt like I was happy. It's been a long 8 seasons, and that's what I wanted for her. Even though it turned out this, I still wanted that to happen. And for a very small second, I was very happy for her. And that was it.
This is it. We got it, guys.
Yeah.
And then everything falls to shit. My best moment, I know it's a little small one, but it's Arya saying bye to Jon forever, and she's like, goodbye, everybody. Yeah. Because I love Arya, and she got really emotional, and I am excited for her and her storyline more than anybody else, I think, just to see her kind of travel the world, and I know that that's what she wanted anyway, so I'm excited for her.
WTF moment. My WTF moment has to be Bran getting nominated for King. Definitely didn't see that coming.
You're like, wait?
I was like, okay.
Just wait.
What? Okay.
My WTF moment is Jon murking Dany the way that he did. Yeah. I just think that as much as I thought it was expected, as soon as I saw them get closer and closer and the camera got closer, I was like, okay, it's going to happen. But at the same time, I was like, that was dirty. That was so dirty. It makes me so angry. Yeah. Piss me off.
MVP. My MVP is going to go to Drogon. I think he fucking killed it. I mean, he did. He killed everyone, literally. He was loyal to her to the end. When everyone else left her, when everyone else died, he was still there. He felt her pain. He lifted her up in his toenail and took her away. And I just loved him. I was like, I don't know. Something with the animals in the show, there's a deeper connection, I feel like, and it just makes me feel some type of way with them, for sure.
Mine is going to his mama, Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
This bitch I'm giving her MVP only because as a series character, she was.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Definitely my favorite. I was rooting for her from the beginning, and while she just didn't have a good ending. She really didn't have a good ending.
Yeah.
And even if she went crazy and they showed her go insane, I probably still would have rooted for her, just because I just love her story. Her story was magical and amazing to watch. What a journey to watch this character go through what she went through. And I'm more upset about the writers writing her the way that they wrote her, but I love her as a character, and I
agree.
Dany forever, honestly.
Dany forever, totally.
LVP.
My LVP is gonna go to Bran, I think, because I do feel like he literally came out of nowhere. He did shit all during the Night King battle. He fucking went into Raven mode and did nothing about it.
Nothing.
I just thought his mission in life was supposed to be a tree or the three-eyed raven. I didn't realize he was supposed to be the mother effing king of Westeros. I think I just didn't understand. I just felt like it wasn't earned. I think in his personal journey, he did a lot, yes. And it was a beautiful story, 100%. I just didn't get the connection of why that journey links to this journey of ruling another kingdom. I didn't understand that. I don't know.
For sure. My LVP is going to go to Jon Snow, just because
for sure.
I would say probably since the last 2 or 3 seasons, I've been hating every single thing that he's done. I'm just I was over him for a long time. The only thing that really I liked about him is that the fact that he did fall in love with Dany and she loved him.
Totally.
And anything past that, he was a royal fuck up from so many moments before this. And this episode just nail in the coffin. He's definitely my LVP. He fucking fucked his queen over, and he ruined the storylines. He finished everything. He's pissed off. You know what's funny? Looking back now, there's these interviews with Kit Harington and all these people who have been kind of cluing in that they've been disappointed about the series finale and how it all ends, and they always chalk it up as a joke, but I'm sure they were dead ass serious. I'm sure he wasn't happy about the way things ended either.
I don't know.
I don't think he was.
The best line.
My best line is going to go to the one I said before, Dany, when she's talking to Jon, and she says, "Be with me, build a new world with me. This is our reason. It has been from the beginning, since you were a little boy with a bastard's name. And I was a little girl who couldn't count to 20. We do it together. We break the wheel together." And it just kind of, for me, why I loved it was it just brought everything from the beginning of the show to this moment. Like looking at their journeys from like season
100%.
1, episode 1, I was like, oh my God, like they totally were always, for me, linked together. Like it would have been sick if like their journey at the end came together and they worked together to build a new world. Sure. I think that would have spoken volumes of like these two powerful forces working together, you know, for this new world. And it just ends so fucking tragically, and whatever. Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
Mine is going to Jon when he says, "You are my queen now and always. You fucking liar."
Yeah, you're a fucking liar. That's for sure.
I'm just like, I loved when he said it, and obviously it ends with this very tragic death, and it was expected, but it was just really sad. I'm just really sad about everything, guys. I have so many feelings.
That's it, guys. Like that is the end of Game of Thrones.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just want to take the time to thank our patrons of the episode, our Rewinder squad. We got some new ones this week. Thanks so much to White and Wesley. And our Lit Rewinders, we also got another one. We got Tina Ann, Sarge, Serena, Kate, and Saleh. I hope I'm saying that right. And our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, and Tamala.
Thanks, guys. And if you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. If you join, you'll get access to all things Recap Rewind, exclusive content, and updates.
And also make sure you guys check us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And you can find us out on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. I know the series is done for you guys, but we have other shows running at the same time. So make sure you guys are checking us out on everything to make sure that we're not missing one of your favorite shows.
That's it.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.